Hey guys, welcome back to What's News, J77, and I'm just gonna go right straight to the news itself. Got 5 stories that happened last week, and I wanted to just touch on it, give my own thoughts. This story has pretty much made international headlines, and for the reasons that I'm gonna talk about, many people who have commented on this article pretty much was spot on about the seriousness about security in the World Trade Center. Now, if you guys don't know, a 16-year-old boy have actually bypassed security system, made it all the way up to the spear, and he took some pictures. Now, he was charged with misdemeanor criminal trespassing. Could have been a whole lot worse. It still involved some jail time, but not as severe as you think. It's not even. It's pretty much. I seriously doubt even the judge is going to even give him that jail time because it only involves 2 to 3 months. But in any case, it is something that the boy has gotten headlines, and he's pretty much regretting it. He has apologized for what he has done. He didn't mean to cause any small problems, but this is beyond what this boy has done. Yeah, this boy has done something he shouldn't have done. He should not have broken into a privately run building. But at the same time, why is this building not properly secured? And a lot of people have said this. You know how the routine when they say they take security and they take people's safety very seriously. Yet, you had a situation here where it showed all of the weak spots of this building. The fact that this kid managed to take advantage of the weak spot. Here's how he went. He went for a 1-foot hole gap between the fence and the building. He managed to climb the steps to the 6th floor, went up to the 88th floor, went past security to the 104th floor. So there's a lot to be said about that whole thing. And he stood there he stood in this top of the building for 2 whole hours. 2 hours before finally he was detained by police. He was detained at I believe at 6 o'clock. Yeah, 6 o'clock a.m. and he was charged with misdemeanor. Now this made the big headlines. A lot of newspapers had him, walking with his face. Didn't seem too pleased to be with to have his mug on the front page. But at the same time, more people are upset with the authorities, who, let's be honest, had inaccurate security. Now I say inaccurate security because I pretty much already know, just by my own experience, dealing with these security officers, that these guys are not deputized police officers. They're just pretty much there to be babysitters. They don't have a gun. They're there to write notes, reports if something bad has actually happened. They can't even interfere. They can't even break up a fight. They have to call the police for assistance in dealing with the situation. That's the kind of security these guys have. Now, according to some reports, they had fired the security guard, which, by the way, was sleeping on the job. But there was also reports that they're actually going to replace the whole security team and have more professional, more heavily armed security to guard that site. And that should have been the main issue in the first place. They should have had more high secure personnel monitoring that particular area. If you got high personnel like police officers or armed guards guarding Wall Street, there should be no reason why the area at the 9/11 Memorial should have that same kind of presence. Keep in mind of what happened there, and keep in mind that the fact is that many businesses really don't want to do business there. There's a lot of empty space in that building, and it's probably going to be empty for quite some time. There's not many people who want to invest and risk the same thing happening twice in a building that is pretty much now considered the tallest building in the world. So that's something that the Port Authority should have made sure that's their main priority, is make sure they have the best uptight security. And just for the record, I know they're saying they're going to have all this cameras and all these and reinforced fences. It doesn't mean anything if you don't have the proper personnel to run it, if you don't have the proper manpower to run it. So all the security is just going to do is be cord. It's not going to actually take action when it needs to be taken action. And that's something that a lot of people are just, talking about on the web, those who are commenting on this article that I'm going to leave a link to, have mentioned, is just no excuse for having that inaccurate of security. And what this kid has done, even though I do not consider him as a hero in any means, I think what he did was stupid and dumb, and you gotta hope that it doesn't come back to haunt him in terms of what he wants to do in the future. Because, like I said, they could have easily add more charges into it. They could still add more charges in it, but from what I'm hearing, they're only going to do a misdemeanor, but it still involves jail time. But the point here is he basically showed you the holes, the gaping holes that this building has, and that's an embarrassment for the Port Authority. That's an embarrassment for the city to have this building, which you already know is a hotspot for tourism, businesses, and even those who work around that World Trade Center. You cannot have inaccurate accurate security like they did, and you cannot sit there and say you take security seriously when your budget and how much you spend on security tells you differently. And it just bothers me how that happened. There were many people who made very good jokes about this. There were also people who said, "Look, man, if this is your security, why should I even go there?" And even tourism are very skeptical of what has happened here. So they gotta beef up their security, guys. You gotta step up the game. This is not something you cannot. People's safety cannot be measured by a price tag. All right, and that's exactly what it is. You looked for the cheapest security possible, and this is what happened. This is what happened. The kid was there for 2 whole hours. Why was he there in the morning time is beyond me. He should have been home resting, getting ready for the day. But no, he was there. And you know what? Despite how wrong he was, this could have easily been avoided if you had the proper security and you had proper fencing for that matter. So that's my feeling on that. I will leave a link for you guys to look at. Leave the link for below. Let's head to the next topic at hand, and I'm just going to continue on with the KKK. A leader from the Ku Klux Klan actually disputed the hate group label and claimed that the Ku Klux Klan is a Christian organization. I might as well just read some of this. It says here, the leader of the traditional American Knights of the Ku Klux Klan is tired of a few rogue Klansmen running a group's reputation and ruining the group's reputation, and argued that the group is a nonviolent Christian organization. We don't hate people that of their race. I mean, we're a Christian organization. Frank Akora, the group's imperial wizard, told Virginia NBC 12 on Thursday, because of an act of a few rogue Klansmen. All Klansmen are supposed to be murderers and wanting to lynch black people. We are supposed to be terrorists. That complete falsehood. You know what's complete falsehood, gentlemen? Complete falsehood is denying about your past history. And denying of the fact is that your motivation is actually based on hate. This is the fact. The Klan was designed to intimidate minorities. Not just blacks, but blacks, Jewish, anyone who is not of the pure white skin, who don't have that exact features. The intimidation included the following: threatening people, burning people's houses, lynching, and hanging. And you guys actually documented it in pictures. My history books had a lot of those. The History Channel showed a lot of those. It is nerve-wracking, disturbing, and just downright shameful of how people can actually use their hate as fault to use it as a weapon the way it was, and they still do it today. You're labeled as a hate group for those many reasons and more. And the sad part is that nothing much has changed. There is still a lot of you who believe, and it's not just whites, to make that clear, because you'd be surprised how many blacks feel the same way. That skin color gives you a certain superiority towards others. You feel that you're better than others just based on skin color alone. And if anybody who is not of that skin color, you have a fit. I guarantee you, if any of your sons or daughters bring someone who is not white, you will not approve. You will be disgraced, you will be disgusted, you'll be angry, you will really lose your cool on that. So to say that the reason why you don't understand why you're a hate group, well, just look at your past. I think that says it all. Also, this is something I'm going to just throw out there. And it's not just the clams. It's for anyone who thinks that because you're connected to a religion that just justifies the stuff you guys do. It don't. Saying you're a Christian organization don't really mean nothing to me. Saying that you're a Muslim organization or anything else organization because you believe that is the reason why you're not what you guys claim you are doesn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything to do with Fred Phelps. He was a Christian organization. His Westboro Baptist Church was a Christian organization. He died the most hated person in this country. There are blogs out there, there are videos out there who actually is happy and celebrating his death. I think it's wrong celebrating somebody's death like that, but that's how it is. He has angered so much people, and what he was doing was he felt he was doing God's work. Well, a lot of people didn't think that was God's work. Sometimes some of the people who uses those religion, you got to wonder what their true motives is, especially when they pronounce it around all the time. Now, there are some good Christians out there. There's no question about it. But there's a lot of them who use the religion as a shield for their evil deeds, and they use it as justification to commit the heinous acts that they do. So to me, just saying you're a Christian organization really don't mean anything. It's how you act towards others, how you represent yourself, and how you look upon other people as yourself. And just for the record, this is one of the reasons why. When in one of the main articles here, and it says it right here, I'm not reading the whole thing, but I'm going to leave a link so you guys can read it yourself. He said he wants to protect the white race. He wants to keep white white. Why is that such a big deal to you? Come to think of it, why is that such a big deal to anyone? Why is that so personal to you? If you say you don't hate people, then worrying about your race the way you just describe it on this article shouldn't be any difference whatsoever. But in the past 8 years, I've seen a lot of that happening. Especially when Obama came into office. I kind of find it funny that these people come out of nowhere with picket signs saying white slavery. We're worried about being discriminated on. Where is this coming from? Now, if Obama wasn't president, would I see all these signs coming out of nowhere? The answer is no. We got a black president, and because he's a minority who have gotten elected, all of a sudden the white race is worried. Or those who have that kind of stigma, that hatred inside, is worried. They've worried about losing everything. They worry about the world changing. You see it. The only difference between the clans now and the clans then is they're doing a lot of stuff in closed doors. But make no mistake about it, there's a lot of people who takes it further. And there's a lot of people, if you be honest with them, if there's law excuse me, if the laws didn't exist, they probably do excuse me, sorry about that, guys. Let's try again. If the laws didn't exist, I guarantee you that most of them will act out their hate in such a way that it will just tear the country apart. Some of them even went on radio shows saying that the only reason why they don't do it because the laws will arrest them and prosecute them. But it's on their mind. So the reason why you're in a situation of hate group, because you're still practicing hate. You're still throwing that stuff out there. And you're still bringing this white superiority, this white superior that you feel that makes you higher than anybody else. Wow, still getting over this cold, guys. I do apologize for that. But we gotta move on. And I'm moving on with another situation here. That's the Salvation Army. Now, this is nothing new. If you live in New York, I've covered the Salvation Army like a lot of people have on YouTube. This is something that that has happened, and it has become an issue with one church separates the church and state. Two, what these religious non-profit organizations do with the money and how they conduct it with their policies. And three, discrimination based on their own religion and how they treat people, especially those in the workplace whose religion doesn't fit theirs. The Salvation Army has been dealing with this for a while, and now a lawsuit has been settled. And this lawsuit has gone way back. It goes back to 2004, where a group of 19 people have filed a lawsuit against the Salvation Army. The group claims that the organization, which registered evangelical church and a charity organization in the United States, was using public taxpayers' money. I want you to be very clear on this. Very, very clear on this. That it is public taxpayer money. It's not privately fund money. It is not money that's given through donation. This is actually done on the taxpayer's dime. We pay for it. New York pays for it, and pretty much most of the country pays for this organization to do what they do. They are being accused of apolizing their evil. They were pretty much accused of using it to push their evangelical religious beliefs, discriminating and terminating people based on religious beliefs. Does this sound familiar to you guys? I hope so, because we had this in Arizona. Ann Lowe, a former employee of the organization, felt that the alleged practice was wrong and complained to her manager and was terminated. Lowe, who is Jewish, along with other plaintiffs, contacted the New York branch of American Civil Liberties Union, which is also known as the NYCLU, alleging that their religious beliefs were often brought into question and that they were threatened with termination or simply fired. This is not surprising. And again, there's a lot more that the Salvation Army has been accused of over the last few years. I myself have used to go to the Salvation Army stores and used to shop, even donate from time to time to the Salvation Army, but I have stopped and actually have spent more time in Goodwill for a lot of reasons that I will explain later on in this show. The Lowe's told the New York Times about the alleged politicizing before serving meals, and those who needed to contact religious discrimination against employees. We were publicly funded. We were providing services on contracts, the New York City and the state, and they were really imposing religious tests. In 2010, a settlement was reached that barred the organization from doing such things, working under the public contract, but the settlement denied any workplace discrimination and dismissed other lesser charges. However, the NYCLU appealed and continued to fight to address all the charges of violations of the U.S. Constitution. This week, the Salvation Army cave and new settlement has been reached, a settlement that upholds separation of church and state and will no longer allow organizations to hold to those that serve or those who employ any religious standards while receiving taxpayers' dollars. Again, I gotta emphasize this: taxpayer dollars. The organization will also pay $450,000 to two of the plaintiffs that were wrongfully terminated. This article also says here that George W. Bush administration and their faith-based incentive, a program that has been continued under the Obama administration, made it very easy for organizations like the Salvation Army to receive taxpayer money and their services. Both administrations had consistently dodged questions about workplace discrimination procedures and such organization. The Salvation Army receives millions of federal funding, around $188 million. New York alone, to run the homeless shelters, soup kitchen, and after-school programs. Around 300 New York employees are paid, and I want to keep the key word here, federal funded. They're paid with federal funds, and not paid with private funds, and not paid directly to Salvation Army. Their money is coming to the feds. This is according to the NYCLU. For more than a decade of receiving federal funds, the Salvation Army allegedly has been forcing the hungry to sit through a sermon in order to receive food they desperately needed, and forcing their employees to held a fundamentalist religious standard that had come into question in the past when an Australian media regulation director for the Salvation Army implied that gays and lesbians deserve death because the punishment is supposed to be in line with the scriptures. The organization quickly apologized for the official statement and assured that it does not fit the Christian belief. For decades, it has been charged that the Salvation Army has hidden behind religious charitable statues to get away with such actions, but the new settlement finally says that regardless of religious statue, they can no longer use public funding to push their religious agenda. I went through that without a cough. And pretty much what you just heard right there is one of the reasons why I have stopped giving to the Salvation Army. Not just for the lesbian thing, but the fact is, a lot of the money that I have felt, and I lived in New York for a long time. This is not just something out of the blue. This is going for years and years. And me being as poor as I was back then, I have started to notice a pattern. The Salvation Army gets a lot of their money from the feds. We also get a lot of money from what we donate to them. They sell it back at 100% profit. And I notice you would think that the money that they're accumulating will actually go to what they say they're going to go. The problem is that I don't see it. A lot of people don't see it. I mean, there's supposed to be a lot of soup houses, but yet it seems to be less depending where you are. There's supposed to be one in Brooklyn and one in Staten Island, but it seems like the order of service they are supposed to be getting doesn't seem to make sense with the money that they are receiving from the state as well as the city. Now they do have other programs and other means of spending the money. That is true, but especially from hearing this, you got to ask yourself, at what cost are you going to go into it? Do you have to be converted back to Christianity? Do you have to basically go by what they say, what they say in terms of prayers and everything else? And that's just something I always have been put into question. Now, keep in mind that churches have been doing donations for years. There's no question. They also do special sermons and everything else. So that's no question about it. But those places that does it out of their own pocket, does it based on donations people have given. So I don't have much of a beef about that. But when you're giving actual taxpayers money, when you're giving money from the state and you're trying to convert people over, I kind of question that a little bit, especially when you're very aggressive. And another thing I want to just make this very clear: it is actually illegal for someone to ask you about your religious status in any workplace. That should never have came up. That's the one thing that I think they really overstepped their bounds on, and I would never have answered that question. And then if I didn't get hired or they fired me for that, I definitely would. I would have done the same thing these guys done, because it's against the law. They broke the law just by doing that. There are certain procedures that employer must follow, and one of the things is there's certain questions, at least in New York, they're not allowed to ask. They're not allowed to ask about the marital status. They're not allowed to ask about how many children you have. They're not allowed to ask about the religious preference. That's none of their business. That's going way beyond what they're supposed to be doing. And now they're seeing if you're actually qualified for the job, not seeing about your personal religious status. So I think that's something that Salvation Army definitely has dropped the ball on, 100%. Hopefully, and I say hopefully because everybody's saying that this may actually not stop the Salvation Army for doing it. I tend to agree, because keep in mind, when you have someone who runs the organization the way they do, they try to go around it as much as they can, and we'll see what happens as the months and years progress. Another reason why I don't support the Salvation Army, because when it comes to agendas such as the gay and lesbian issue, I know someone actually brought it up and their YouTube channel. If I can find her, I'll leave a link to her, because she actually brought it up very, very well. They tend to hold their organization hostage. New York had this idea that we can't really do much about what they're doing because they provide a service for everybody else. Well, wait a minute. You're basically admitting that these guys are holding you on a tightrope. I don't care who you are. No organization should be holding a city or a state hostage based on their charitable status. That's something that I was very, very angry about, and I was even more angry at the city for allowing it to happen. They was really pushing their political views, almost to the point where I don't even consider them charity anymore. I was thought there was going to be like a political party doing this. And every time that's brought up, how come the city is not taking out funds? Oh, because they will hurt the people in the homeless shelter, they will hurt the people and children. And I'm like, well, why did you let them have that much power to begin with? You should never have let that power to begin with. You need to really start. If you don't want to take any money away, that's fine. But you got to put some restrictions on there. You can't just have these guys do that and use their resources as a way to manipulate the city. And that was something that I was very, very upset about, very concerned about. And at least here now they know they can't really do that anymore. But again, I do question just how much that lawsuit is going to affect them. They're a very big organization, and look, I got nothing against the people who works there, especially during Christmas time. It takes a lot of guts to singing and dancing to collect for charity. It really does. But that organization as a whole, I kind of got turned off by them about the other stuff they was doing, and pretty much I just donate to Goodwill. They're pretty much the same thing. The only difference is they actually have programs to help people get back on their feet in terms of jobs and training. So that's why I donate to them rather than the Salvation Army. You guys may disagree. I'd like to hear your opinion. I'd like to hear what your thoughts on the matter. But I'm going to move on because I got two more stories to talk about. And speaking of churches, it is a weird story, and also a story that I'm kind of glad that the woman who did this did it and actually showed us how stupid the church have done when they did this. But a woman by the name of Jennifer Lewis Lopez have asked an anti-gay Harlem church to stone her. Now I know what you guys are wondering, what the hell does that have to do with anything else? But the church, which is run by Dr. James Davis Manning, a man who has been outspoken critical of Obama administration and the process of lesbians, gays, and bisexual and transition rights over the course of the past 6 years, the church made headlines in late February when the religious leaders posted a sign that read, "Obama has released the homo's demons on the black man. Look out, black woman. A white homo may take your man." Not only racist, but just pretty much disgraceful. That's what I can say it. The church then later replaced the sign with one that reads, "Jesus would stone homos." Along with stoning is still along with stoning is still the law. The Bible, first Matthew 5-17-19, Deuteronomy 17-5-7, Leviticus 20-13, and John 8-1-11. I'm glad they always pick and choose certain scriptures in the Bible. Maybe they should read the whole thing sometimes. In the response, Lopez knocked on the church's front door this week and informed the man who answered that she was here for the stoning. I saw your sign. I'm here for the stoning. I'm a lesbian. Lopez informed the man in a video which Lopez posted on Facebook. The man, who seemed to be a bit unsure of what he should say, ultimately told Lopez that she doesn't have any stones, but she should come back the next day. And that's how the article has stopped. And to be very frankly, it's kind of hilarious that the guy didn't think no one was actually going to heed that call. And to show just how stupid that sign is and how hateful that sign is. I mean, you would think that after a while you realize that, yeah, this is not what the best way to get people in our church. But you still got churches who are so hell-bent on throwing this around. Again, I'm gonna be very frankly, I'm not here to tell you you should embrace it or not embrace it. That is your choice. But to go and be so vindictive about it, to go and just basically demonize a group of people because of what you believe in, is really pushing it a little bit too far. And putting that up there, that was unnecessary. That was uncalled for. You really want to be known as the next Westboro Church, because that's what you're basically doing. And the fact is that you didn't have a response to this. This pretty much showed you just how much you was reacting on hate and not on reason and not on knowledge. And again, when I see something like that in a church, I'm going to be very frankly, I'm not going to go to that church, because frankly it's not about whether they believe in gay is wrong or not. But the fact is, you don't have you're being judge and jury, and I don't want to be a part of that. I really don't. I'll leave a link below that you guys talk about it. It is a very interesting story indeed, and I'm gonna let to the one that is actually a nice ending to the What's News episode, and that is a monkey massaging a cat. Now, there's not much to say about it because there's not much in terms of article, but I'm gonna tell you in my own way that a cat wandered in there. According to this, this is something that according to the little piece here that I've read, the cat wanders into this cage where the monkey is, and the monkey seemed to be friends with this cat, and the cat seemed to be friends with him. From the picture here, it looks like the cat was trying to get something to eat, and the monkey just started massaging him. And the cat actually enjoyed it. The pictures each show each style of massage you get. The monkey actually climbed on top of the cat, and the cat was just like stretched out and is just enjoying the massage this monkey was given. It is very cute, and it actually brought a smile to my face. Just want to share that with you guys. Again, it's not really much in terms of the story. It's mostly done by pictures, not by dialogue. It says here, heartwarming display of interspecies friendship between a house cat and a crab-eating musking, I believe, MACQUE, comes to say via a photograph of Handy MP, who took these pictures at his friend's house in Indonesia. The two are very close and they always play together, MP said, according to the Daily Mail. When I was there, the cat made his first move walking towards the monkey. The typical monkey behavior. They just started playing together. That's it. And if you see the pictures, it's kind of fun to look at it. They're very heartwarming. It brings you it hits you here, because that's actually something you want to see during the end of the day. You want to see something that's heartwarming and something that reminds you that there are some still good things in this world, besides the craziness that's going on. And sometimes it's just the smallest of creatures who remind us, hey, I'm a monkey, I'm a cat. We get along. Why can't you guys get along? But it's actually a cool picture. It's actually well shot. I mean, if you go down there, I mean, there's one shot at the other shot at the other shot, and each time it's one is cuter than the other. I'll leave that link to you guys. That's the good news I wanted to leave out with. Before I go on, do want to apologize for the coughing. That is something that I'm still getting over. It was a painful weekend for me. I got caught in the rain on Thursday. I felt it on Friday. I stood on me on Monday and Tuesday. In fact, this is actually not the original recording of What's News. I had a two-parter that I have actually done, but it was I was coughing so much and drinking so much fluid, which I do not like to do. I don't like to eat too much when I'm doing a video. This is right when in my mouth. That's actually kept the cough at bay. That's my cough drops. But just so you know, this is what I've been taking the last few days as well, Robitussin. But like I said, I wanted to get one out before Wednesday, and decided to record now. I didn't want to bring out the two-parter. This is a one-parter because this is only 36 minutes, which is actually the right time I wanted to do it. But I do want to apologize. Hopefully that will not be too many of those, but I don't want to miss too many What's News, especially on my second channel. So again, apologize if I understand if you don't like the video, but for anything else, if you guys, I will leave a link below to all the topics I talk about. You guys are free to comment if you want. But until then, J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.